Selected 1. Rumor has it that you're not as kind as everyone believed. The reason angels carry swords is soon to be revealed to every soul that disregarded your lovely disposition. And they're very shaken, to be honest. According to psychological research, the most destructive force frequently lurks under the most accommodative facade. The divine anger that arises when cosmic forces determine the farce is finished, however, is beyond the scope of science. Like slow-motion nuclear bombs, chosen ones from every corner of the world are dropping their lovely facets. Furthermore, everyone's cozy presumptions about who is actually in charge are being destroyed by the shockwaves. It was never a shortcoming of yours to be gentle. It was compassion turned into a weapon. It wasn't a coincidence that something old flared behind your eyes. The room's temperature appeared to drop abruptly when someone pushed too hard. Everyone became quiet when your voice reached a register that they couldn't explain. Comfort zones were demolished under supervision. Across the bow of arrogance, warning bullets were fired. It was sensed by the most observant of all. There was something about how, when the light struck just so, the shadows seemed to bend about you. Something about how your most casual movements carried the crushing weight of eternity. These were not individuals sensing normal energy. These were souls that, despite your conscious efforts to conceal it, recognized something cosmic and scary in your presence. However, because admitting who you truly were would have upended cozy illusions about who should be in charge and who should be in service, the great majority opted for willful blindness. Because feeble egos needed weakness to live, others perceived your calm authority as weakness. Others were hesitant when you used confined nuclear power, since that interpretation permitted restful slumber. Ignorance was not the cause of the blindness. On some primordial level, it was a survival instinct. Others understood they would have to bow down to see you. And such cosmic humiliation was too much for pride to withstand. The most heartbreaking thing that's happening to you isn't simply how strong you are. That whole impression of your kindness was a deliberate deception. Each soft grin you gave was a deliberate decision rather than a reflexive reaction. Each soft-spoken syllable was positioned purposefully rather than out of instinct. As some congratulated themselves on your alleged cooperation, others used every conciliatory gesture as a covert kind of surveillance to learn about flaws. You were never sweet in the sense that other people define it. You were honey, and honey is how you draw flies before you kill them, as every apex predator is aware. It was miraculous restraint that others saw as natural tenderness. A lion is not weak if it prefers to purr rather than roar. It is really well managed. People are still trying to explain what they saw, and the shock waves are still rippling across social networks. What would you say to someone who has recently shown themselves to be a force of nature and is being carelessly dismissed? How can you acknowledge that each patronizing exchange was really with someone who could have destroyed confidence with a single well-timed remark, but didn't? Because it compels one to face the reality. Confusion is delightful. Egos are hardly able to live. In all of your interactions, others were never in a dominant position. Others were mice who were playing in a sleeping giant's shadow, supposing that the monster was not there. Now that the monster has opened its eyes, they're to rush to figure out how something so big could have been overlooked. There came a time of complete reckoning, a certain moment when the cosmos itself positioned itself to see you come into being. Not slowly, not with smooth transitions, but with the detonating might of supernova. The gentle facade to which others have been used did not disappear. An explosion of genuine strength destroyed it, leaving no space for misunderstanding. Perhaps the blind masses around you thought that was normal. Another meeting, another discussion, another routine exchange. However, cosmic forces that had been accumulating for lifetimes reached critical mass at that crystallized moment. You didn't just straighten your back. It turned into a lightning pole for heavenly power. You didn't just switch up the register of your voice. It discovered the frequency that causes reality to distort. What followed will always be a source of nightmares. Like smoke before a typhoon, the tactful accommodations that others had taken for granted disappeared. What was left was pure, unadulterated, and utterly scary to those who had made the investment to keep you tiny. What others believed to be a lamb has simply shown out to be the lion it always was. And there would be no more jungle. Keep an eye on faces during those initial moments of recognition. The bewilderment turned to astonishment. Fear formed from shock. A few even staggered backward. Others didn't, as though being close to your unbridled soul has turned into a physical threat. It has too. When a radiation field of genuine cosmic power is no longer protected by false accommodation. Not everyone can live there. The ensuing quiet bears the burden of civilizations collapsing. Entire worldviews are collapsing in that pregnant moment between fresh fear and old comprehension. Every presumption regarding the distribution of power is being altered in that electrifying instant of awareness by forces that others were unaware existed. This was always going to happen. The day when the meek inherit the earth is mentioned in many spiritual traditions. However, the prophecy was misinterpreted. Never were the meek weak. The meek had gone asleep. Waiting were the meek. You were the meek. Observe how whole social ecosystems are reorganizing themselves in response to your appearance. People who didn't think twice about you are now extremely conscious of you everywhere you go. Conversations that used to flow naturally around you now falter and stop as soon as you walk into the area. No one knows where the new places are anymore, and the invisible hierarchy that others believe to be understood has been totally reversed. In your presence, the people who make the loudest dismissals are suddenly the quietest. People are experiencing something for which they were never prepared by psychology textbooks. The profound understanding that monarchy has been disparaged while being misidentified as a commoner. Nervous systems remain in a state of constant alertness, sensing threat levels subconsciously that conscious minds are unable to comprehend. In an attempt to retrospectively portray themselves as pals who always saw your potential, others are overcompensating with fake excitement. Suddenly interested in what you think? I'm nodding eagerly at your observations. Frantic efforts to seem in agreement. If it weren't so telling about basic character, it would be pitiful. Not that you're bragging. You're not making a fool of yourself with your calculations. You're acting with the utmost assurance of someone who always anticipated this day. Someone who always had access to higher authorities, so you never required approval. If you feel the abundance of divine love in your heart, now is the time to share it. You can help spread God's blessings by clicking the Super Thanks button on YouTube and contributing $20 or more. This divine gift will touch not only your life, but also the souls of many others through this platform. Each of you has a sacred place in God's great design, and your generosity will be the fruit of our prayers. Take action now. Share your blessings to exalt His kingdom, for you were created to do even greater things in God's loving hands. May God bless you. There is nothing more disturbing than your serene confidence in your own abilities. It wasn't only the rejection of your authority that was the most offensive part of the prior treatment. Your intelligence was completely underestimated. Around you, people talked as though complicated dynamics were incomprehensible. As though there were intellectual limits, simple concepts were explained. Assuming you lacked the ability to think strategically, decisions that affected you were made without consulting you. With every contact, it becomes more evident how incorrect that evaluation was. Every inquiry you asked that seemed innocent was really a surgical probe that was gathering data in a covert manner. You were cataloging ways for later use each time you seemed perplexed by intrigues. You were enabling methods to be revealed while maintaining your own advice every time someone else believed manipulation was taking place. People are being eaten alive by the cognitive dissonance. When you're playing four-dimensional combat and you realize that someone else is playing chess, how do you balance treating them like an intellectual inferior? How do you deal with the reality that every dialogue in which you appeared kind and straightforward was actually a sophisticated interrogation tactic masquerading as friendly banter, that previous exchanges are being examined from a different angle, and that the information being uncovered is embarrassing? That project meeting when you smiled politely while fundamental principles were conveyed to you. 3 steps ahead, you were already aware of the ramifications and were observing, struggling to come to conclusions you had made prior to the encounter. That informal discussion in which issues were discussed in the hopes of eliciting pity. You were providing consolation while doing a psychological evaluation. In reality, the sweetness that others found so charming was intellectual compassion. Responses were being dumbed down to levels that could be handled without overwhelming oneself. You were converting cosmic revelations into a language that could only be understood by a select few. Every kind explanation was your decision to withhold the entire scope of mental capacity, since it would have been needlessly harsh to see someone struggle to keep up. Watching the scramble is quite tasty. The same people who brushed off your observations when they were given with accommodative grins are now eager to set up meetings to talk about your insightful viewpoints. Now that it has returned with energy that causes neurological systems to shout warnings, the wisdom that was disregarded while it was wrapped in delicate packaging is being acknowledged as crucial. Now, listen to the noises. I've always appreciated your distinct point of view. Really? When you talked quietly, where was that respect? We need to have discussed these choices with you earlier. If consultation was necessary, why wasn't it conducted when the same advice was given in a kind manner? If revisionist history weren't so inevitably obvious, it would be pitiful. Some are trying to completely undo the harm by rewriting the therapy as though there is no video proof. Others are paralyzed by perplexity. Your emergence destroyed entire paradigms for comprehending social dynamics. In the hopes that you don't have an elephant's memory of past dismissals, the astute ones are subtly reinventing themselves as early supporters. The failure to understand how this was overlooked. How did this overwhelming force suddenly transform from someone who was considered delicate and manageable? The response is damaging to one's sense of self. No one missed it. The decision was taken not to perceive it since doing so would have meant admitting that whole hierarchies were based on sand. Character is revealed in the frenzied scrabble. There is no regard for wisdom. There is a power outage. They don't appreciate insight. It is dominance. Others are forced to face the horrifying fact that the cosmic pecking order was never what was imagined, now that you are no longer concealing yours beneath layers of strategic accommodation. And education is only getting started. It was more than simply concealment. It was a trap. Deeper stepping into a web of their own devising was occurring each time someone used your seeming compassion. Every dismissive, patronizing remark and presumption about your limits was being documented, not just for future use, but also as proof of your genuine character. You weren't only monitoring behavior when masks were removed. You were putting it to the test by setting up situations in which actual nature would appear while people thought they were safe from the repercussions. When individuals believed they had all the power, the charming character allowed them to display their true selves. The relationship has changed, and people are now experiencing dread at realizing that someone with your level of skill has extensive data on moral shortcomings. Retaliation was never the purpose of the trap. Sorting was the focus. Even when vengeance was deemed unthinkable, those who treated you with fundamental respect had shown themselves deserving of ongoing contact. People who acted cruelly or contemptuously when they felt weak have demonstrated essential nature and are currently exiled from your energy field. When you see how flawlessly the strategy's goal was achieved, its genius becomes evident. You now understand exactly who should be kept at a minimum and who should have access to your true self. When there are no perceived repercussions for activities, individuals always show their genuine selves. Therefore, the sorting process was automatic, effective, and entirely accurate. Your appearance did not catch everyone off guard. They are the ones whose expressions display familiarity rather than astonishment if you look closely through the confusion. These unique souls have worn identical masks. Thus, they constantly fly through your soft camouflage. Because identical infernos are held inside themselves, carefully banked but never extinguished, your concealed fire was identified. Have some been transmitting coded signals all along? Subtle recognitions that seem to speak directly to something deeper and bypass your consciousness. a manner of showing respect for you that caused discomfort for others since it suggested a hierarchy that they were unable to understand. These weren't arbitrary courtesy gestures. These were acknowledgments between members of cosmic monarchy who were momentarily masquerading as commoners. In the days ahead, keep an eye on who approaches you, but use discernment. Ignore the old dismissers who are now acting respectfully. The only thing being replied to is power that can finally be sensed with restricted senses. Seek for those who come with whispering eyes that appear to hold ancient wisdom. Dear brothers and sisters, may God's peace be with you today. I am here to remind you of a profound truth. Our existence is grounded in God's divine plan, unshaken by the world's fleeting concerns. As the Holy Bible says, everything done in faith will be rewarded by God's abundant blessings. Luke 6 verse 38, like that mighty oak tree, our roots are deeply anchored in God's universal truth. Every step we take, every stance we hold is secure by His power. And now, you have the opportunity to be a part of this blessing. When you click the Super Thanks button and make a $100 donation, this act will return to you 100-fold. At last, I was starting to question whether you would ever cease acting like you were normal. Your real family is this group. Your cosmic pals are these. When reality itself starts to slant in the direction of justice, these are the people who will support you. Your current energy signature is like a beacon beckoning others of your quality to come out of hiding. What's emerging is more than just a network of support. The rules of this reality can actually be rewritten by the united might of this constellation of awakened creatures. However, you must first address the opposition's mobilization against you. Every alarm system in the control matrix has been activated by your appearance. Resources you were unaware existed are being mobilized by those who established empires on the voluntary devaluation of creatures like you. There are those who are openly assaulting. Others use psychological warfare to make you wonder if your awakening is a breakdown or something else entirely. Keep an ear out for the typical weaponry being used. It used to be such a pleasure working with you. This new mindset is alarming. We believe we knew this team player, but what happened to him? Every phrase is designed to cast doubt on the veracity of your metamorphosis. An attempt is being made to gaslight you back into the box designed to enclose you. The manipulating skills of some are more advanced. We're concerned for you. It appears that this shift in personality is harmful. Have you thought about getting expert assistance? This is hardly a sign of real worry. This is phony sympathy cloaked in fear. You're not worrying about your health. There is fear about the implications of your genuine power for institutions that entire identities have been dedicated to preserving. Those whose psychological life depends on upholding systems where cosmic forces like you stay self-suppressed are the most deadly opponents. Your rise goes beyond simply questioning authority. It exposes alleged superiority as the complex fabrication that it has always been. Identity actually rests on your return to smallness. Thus, resistance will be ferocious. In fact, opposition helps you achieve your goals. Each assault validates the scope of what you stand for. Extraordinary resistance is not triggered by regular awakenings. The cosmic importance of your emergence exactly correlates with the level of terror. In essence, you are giving testimonials about your authority each time someone tries to undermine it. Allow yourself to become exhausted from attempting to control the uncontrollable. Allow resources to be wasted on tactics that were effective against the previous iteration of yourself, but are wholly ineffective against the current you. You're transforming into something for which there aren't yet words, while battling the ghosts of your former existence. You're not undergoing your emergence alone. Other selected individuals are getting the message that the period of hiding is over in every business, community, and social circle. Others who have been putting up similar fronts are starting to experience their own insights as a result of the energy signature of your metamorphosis. Previously agreeable staff are suddenly exhibiting strategic thinking that surpasses supervisors, causing inexplicable conflicts in corporate boardrooms. Students who convey their ideas with the authority of certainty rather than as chance guesses are a problem for academic institutions. Social organizations are disintegrating when supposedly innocuous persons exhibit depths of vision that render the contributions of others appear flimsy. The recognition element is what most frightens the existing order. Instant recognition avoids any social pretense when one chosen person meets another. Regardless of whatever disguise is still on, people can sense each other's genuine power. By forging alliances on frequencies that most people aren't even aware of, these relationships are reshaping reality from perspectives that the general public was unaware existed. The impact of multiplication is exponential. People start to wonder why concealing is still occurring as a result of each selected one being made public. Through interconnected consciousness, the bravery spreads like wildfire, igniting true chain reactions that are impossible for traditional power systems to halt or control. You're living through a cosmic stress test in every relationship you have. This is not a choice. It is not possible to control or moderate this by diplomatic means. Everyone in your orbit must either ascend to meet that vibration or be automatically ejected by the unchangeable principles of resonance when your energy frequency swings this drastically. Observe the procedure exquisite accuracy. Certain relationships are becoming more profound and going beyond simple friendship to the level of holy union. The folks who always had a peek of your actual self are now reveling in your revealed brilliance and are incredibly appreciative of the validation of what they suspected but were unable to express. From amicable partnerships, these ties are developing into powerful forces that, when their goals coincide, may move mountains. Others are melting because to the inevitable melting of ice in the summer heat. People who were drawn to your seeming adaptability, who took advantage of your limitless accommodations, and who found solace in your readiness to reduce yourself. They find your genuine frequency intolerable. It's creating distance. They are creating excuses. They're finding urgent reasons why you've become hard to be around. Since family members have the greatest stake in upholding their ideal of who you should be, family relationships are undergoing the most dramatic transformations. Parents who shaped you to fit their own constraints. Siblings who use your childhood roles to define you in order to fit their stories. Family members who gave you tasks that improve their quality of life. Everyone is being compelled to make peace with their limited notions in light of the unavoidable cosmic reality. You already know the game is rigged, Ron Slook. You can tell the walls are closing in if you're listening. Let's discuss our current course of action. You must be heard, held accountable, and given a fair hand when you live by the day, at the whim of the market, when property and profit govern the land. The things that a people want are these. We also hear you. There are paid barriers in the obsidian inner order. Yes, the people who support us and keep our mission going provide us with the ammo we need to battle the archons. Resist the machine, go deeper, and find more. Now is the perfect time to click the super thanks button on YouTube and share God's blessings. You can contribute to his plan and become a part of this divine mission with a donation of $100 or more. Every gift reflects God's generosity, and I believe it will return to you multiplied beyond your expectations. Remember, his protection and blessings are with you in every step you take and every donation you make. You become part of his divine plan. You are a powerful, radiant being, unshakable like his mighty rock. Witness God's miracles, feel the fruits of your generosity in your soul, and illuminate the world with his confidence and courage. Be blessed, and may the Lord's light guide your way. Additionally, as a token of appreciation, our premium members receive a weekly, 1-hour live, personalized group tarot reading, as well as direction, understanding, and clarity for the future. However, we cannot overlook kicking a man for lying on the ground. Because of this, you may start stealing the Astral Atom unique daily email for free right now. No catch, no paywall. Simply click the link in the description to sign up for the Patreon free tier. This marks the beginning of our discussion with you. It's also bidirectional. Any email we send you can be replied to. We'll read it, we'll listen to you, and we'll try our best to ask the cosmos itself for a response. We need your help, if you can. Take what's free if you can. The inner order of Obsidian is open. Let's resume our work now. Relationships that are unable to endure your emergence should not be lamented. Remember the years you spent lowering your light to maintain relationships based on sham assumptions. Losses aren't the individuals leaving your life. There are revelations. What is being displayed is exactly what was appreciated about you, and it wasn't your true self. Within months, your inner circle will undergo a full restructuring. You will find vital allies in your endeavor who would never have entered your former reality. Permanent connections will dissipate like morning mist. This isn't anarchy. It's cosmic organizing, setting up the ideal constellation of support for the task you came here to do. The extent of the miscommunication extends well beyond personal connections. The most talented assets have been left out of entire sectors that were founded on the premise that gentle people are not business savvy. It's becoming clear that educational institutions that prioritize aggressive self-promotion over quiet competence have graduated the wrong individuals into leadership roles. Social frameworks that mistake violence for strength, misinterpret manipulation for intelligence, and equate volume with worth. As selected ones from each level show that the underlying presumptions were gravely incorrect, everyone is being pushed to reevaluate. The kind and understanding people who have been disregarded didn't lack drive. The techniques being used for operation were so sophisticated that they were not even considered strategic by conventional understanding. Particular instability is occurring in corporate settings when workers who were once thought to be too kind for management start making decisions that make bosses appear incompetent. The quiet team members who never competed for recognition are demonstrating that while everyone else was arguing over details, the larger vision was comprehended. The accommodative coworkers who don't seem to have a murderous instinct are proving that restraint resulted from having access to weapons that were too strong to be used carelessly. Professional settings are not the only ones affected. Volunteers who are perceived by community groups as merely helpful are really skilled strategists who have been covertly arranging results while allowing others to claim credit. Religious organizations are struggling with members who are seen as devoted followers and who exhibit theological knowledge that is superior to that of qualified leaders. Through imperceptible emotional dynamics management and crisis prevention, the lovely kid, sibling, or relative was actually the one keeping things together in family systems. What was perceived as innate submissiveness turned out to be sophisticated emotional intelligence, choosing not to dominate for the benefit of family unity, as the family members who took that sweetness for granted are now learning. These days, the synchronicity is tumbling down like cascades of confirmation. The right individuals show up at the most unlikely times. Possibilities that properly complement your revealed talents are emerging. Doors that have been shut for years despite courteous pleas were flying open. The universe is putting together a symphony of evidence that your metamorphosis is not only genuine, but also required by God. Numbers are communicating with you in languages that your awakened consciousness is immediately familiar with. Intelligence briefings are being delivered in dreams with a clarity that is superior to that of waking consciousness. Sources that appear out of thin air are being used to authenticate information that you already understood without being taught. The truth is being reflected back from the outside world. Your innate wisdom never goes away. Confirmation even comes from your adversary. The people who are most vehemently opposing you are unintentionally testifying to your importance. Ordinary transformation isn't being dealt with here, as seen by the tactics being used, the resources being deployed against you, and the sheer severity of the reaction. We are seeing the rise of something that challenges the fundamentals of reality as it has been functioning. Observe the unexpected appearance of insights gained from meditation in talks with people you don't know. Books that come across your path at the perfect time are revealing insights that came to you in dreams. Through a variety of avenues, wisdom that seemed like a personal epiphany is being reflected back. There is a reason for the convergence. Your intuition has always been linked to pure truth, according to the universe. The difficulties that once appeared to be intended to crush your spirit are now exposed as preparatory measures. Every rejection made you more determined. Your strategic thinking improved with each miscalculation. Your power was surgically adjusted by every conflict. There was no cosmic punishment taking place. Everything was being set up for this very time when your actual nature would be uncontrollable. The building phase is now underway. At this point, your domination becomes into architecture. Existing constructions are no longer being adapted to. Buildings are either being completely replaced or modified to make room for you. Your future foundations will be grounded in cosmic law and impervious to the views of those who continue to operate from antiquated mindsets. Establish spaces where your talents can shine without restraint or regret. Create environments that raise your frequency instead of lowering it. Instead of asking you to conceal your strengths, look for jobs that make use of them. Instead than accepting your power as an annoyance, cultivate connections that appreciate it. Create communities that accept your authority instead of contesting your legitimacy. In the past, you had to compress yourself to fit into little confines. Containers must either enlarge to accommodate your immensity in your new world or break and be replaced by something deserving of what you contain. This is not conceit. Cosmic law is what it is. It is no longer intended to fit inside constraints. It is intended to serve as an example of what happens when heavenly force ceases to apologize for its presence. Make contact with those who have also had their facets destroyed. These days, emergence is occurring everywhere. Regaining their true supremacy, remembering their objectives, and refusing to play small for another second are other cosmic forces. These friendships aren't just formed through the sheer power of shared intention. These coalitions have the power to change the collective reality. Your initial concealment was your pleasant demeanor. There are yet deeper layers to be removed. When the world is ready, according to divine time, further facets of your cosmic nature will be exposed. You weren't going to this emergence. Your first gateway was that one. The authority that lies beyond it will make your existing power seem little in comparison to a storm. Although is settling into something more sustainable, the initial volcanic explosion of your emergence is still destructive to the status quo. You're learning how to navigate this world where being your true self demands respect rather than pleading for it. Once seemingly uncontrollable chaos, the energy is now combining into a steady, focused force that may be used with ever-increasing accuracy. With differing degrees of grace, others are adapting to the new cosmic order. Wise people are rising to acknowledge your revealed strength appropriately. Sensible people are absorbing what they are seeing while keeping a respectful distance. The biological processes of energy incompatibility cause those lacking either to naturally separate. Your standard for making decisions are very different. You are now questioning what serves the ultimate truth rather than how I can prevent making other people uncomfortable. You're thinking about how to increase true power rather than how to reduce confrontation. Internal authority completely and irrevocably replaces external validation. Situations at work that use to sap your energy are either changing to make room for you or ending organically to create room for possibilities that merit your talents. In the universe of vacuum, new structures that are precisely suited for your emergence are appearing at an astounding rate, while old ones collapse under the weight of your authenticity. There is no longer any interest in controlling the comfort levels of others. It is not your responsibility to help people who are confused by your transformation. Your energy is too valuable to be squandered on diplomatic missions to places that ought to be appreciative that you are not completely occupying them. During the mastery phase, you should use your power precisely and not feel guilty about having it. It will seem like reliving a complex performance for an audience that never understood the artistry involved when you look back on your previous self. A masterwork of strategic theater, the welcoming facade with which others engaged was intended to achieve certain goals while providing flawless cover. The real you is what's left, unfathomably strong, incredibly purposeful, and perfectly in harmony with cosmic energies that flow through you rather than around you. Your genuine signature now appears in every interaction you have. rather than energy vampires who took advantage of your made accommodations. Cosmic allies surround you, and their congruent presence amplifies your goal. Bonds that go beyond regular partnerships and into the world of holy alliances founded on reciprocal recognition of power have been formed in place of flimsy relationships based on social convenience. The undeniable frequency of genuine authority transmitted via deliberate intention is present in your activity in the world. Each project is a reflection of your unwavering ideals. Every encounter advances your quest or your growth, oftentimes both at the same time. The graceful efficiency of cosmic law working via your revealed presence has automatically removed time wasters and energy drains from your experience. The kind spirit that others believed did not exist. When traveling among universes, cosmic monarchy dons that mask since they aren't yet prepared to accept real leadership. This is not a metamorphosis that is currently occurring. It is enlightening. You haven't changed into a new person. You no longer conceal an immortal being who was constantly there, strong, perceptive, and in charge. When it was reconnaissance, your generosity was seen as weakness. When it came to strategic timing, your patience was mistaken for inactivity. Your poise, which held nuclear power waiting for the ideal moment to be deployed, was misconstrued as gentleness. When it was divine restraint that chose mercy above destruction, your kindness was assumed to be a natural inclination. You were never as kind and kind as others believed. You have always been as strong as you have shown yourself to be. Your willingness to allow people to live in cozy delusion about the relative power between you is the only thing that altered. Now that the grace period is past, everyone can see the true connection between cosmic power and everyday consciousness. You have always been picked, so stand tall and proud. Your period of hiding has come to an end. This is the start of your period of true domination, when you eventually fully and irrevocably transform into the person you were meant to be. The universe waits in expectation. Not kind, but in control. Not charming, but incredibly strong. The heavenly power that will remodel reality in accordance with principles is not a pleasant addition to it. Others are just starting to get scared. Others believed they were interacting with a lamb. There has just been a discovery. The lion always shared that presence. The disclosure is finished.